You bought a 7.1 surround sound system. You set it up, pressed play, and waited for that full wraparound audio experience you were promised. And what you got instead was something that sounded barely better than a basic 5.1 setup. Maybe a little wider, maybe a little deeper, but not the kind of sound that makes you feel like you are actually inside the scene. Not the kind of audio where you can close your eyes and point to exactly where a sound is coming from in the room around you. Here is the truth. Your system is probably capable of exactly that experience. You are just not getting it yet because of a small number of placement and configuration mistakes that most people make and that most setup guides never clearly explain. Today I am walking you through every single one of those mistakes and exactly how to fix them. Hit subscribe before we go further. Next week, I am breaking down the exact receiver settings that make the biggest difference to surround sound quality, and it is not what most people focus on. Drop a like if this helps you, and comment below right now. What 7.1 system are you using? And do sounds feel like they are truly surrounding you, or just coming from in front and vaguely behind? What 7.1 actually means, and why most people never hear it correctly. A 7.1 surround sound system has 7 directional channels and 1 subwoofer channel. Those 7 channels are front left, center, front right, side left surround, side right surround, rear left surround, and rear right surround. The critical difference between 7.1 and 5.1 is those 2 rear surround channels positioned behind you. When they are placed and configured correctly, sounds do not jump awkwardly from front to side to back. They pan smoothly in a continuous arc that wraps all the way around your listening position. When a 7.1 system is working the way it should, you can close your eyes and accurately point to sounds moving anywhere in a full 360-degree circle around you. Most people with 7.1 systems have never actually experienced this because the mistakes below are so common and so rarely corrected. Mistake 1. Wrong speaker positions. The first and most damaging mistake is placing speakers in the wrong positions, and it happens because the names of the channels are genuinely misleading to most people. Start with the front left and front right speakers. These two should form a triangle with your listening seat, with each speaker angled inward toward you. If you are sitting 10 feet from your television, your front speakers should be roughly 6 to 8 feet apart, and positioned at angles of about 22 to 30 degrees from your center line. Too wide and you create a gap in the middle of the soundstage. Too narrow and you lose the separation that makes front imaging work properly. The center channel is the most important speaker in a home theater system because it carries the majority of dialogue. It must sit directly above or directly below your television, aimed at your ears. Do not place it inside a cabinet where the enclosure absorbs and muddies the sound. Keep it at the front edge of whatever surface it sits on, fully exposed, angled toward your listening position. Here is where most people go wrong with 7.1 specifically. The side surrounds, the channels labeled left surround and right surround, do not go behind you. They go directly to your left and right, beside your seating position, at angles of roughly 90 to 110 degrees from your front center line. Most people assume surround means behind and push all the surround speakers onto the back wall. That is the single mistake that makes 7.1 feel like a worse version of 5.1. Side surrounds belong beside you, elevated 2 to 3 feet above ear level, angled slightly downward toward your head. The rear surrounds go behind your seating position at angles of 135 to 150 degrees, also elevated and angled inward. This specific placement is what allows sounds to travel smoothly from beside you to behind you without any gap or jump in the audio field. Mistake 2. Wrong subwoofer placement. Placing the subwoofer wherever it is convenient is one of the most common home theater mistakes, and it guarantees uneven bass response throughout your room. The method that actually works is called the subwoofer crawl. Place your subwoofer temporarily at your listening seat, at the exact position where your head would be. Play something with deep, consistent bass content. Then get down and slowly crawl around the perimeter of your room while you listen. The spot where the bass sounds fullest, most even, and most powerful is the spot where your subwoofer should actually live. The reason this works is that room acoustics affect bass differently at different positions, and the crawl method finds the spot where your room reinforces rather than cancels low frequencies. In general, corners tend to produce the most output but can sound boomy. A position along the front wall, offset slightly from the corner, usually gives you the best balance between output and evenness. The positions to avoid are dead center of the room and any spot exactly halfway between two parallel walls, because those positions create acoustic cancellation that makes bass disappear at certain frequencies. Mistake 3. Software configuration on Windows. If you are running a 7.1 setup through a Windows computer, this is the step most people skip entirely and then wonder why the system sounds wrong. Go into Settings, then System, then Sound, and find your output device. If you have Windows Sonic or any other spatial audio processing enabled, turn it off. These processing modes conflict with a true discrete 7.1 signal and blur the precise channel separation that makes 7.1 actually work. Open the Sound Control panel. Find your output device, right-click it, and choose Configure Speakers. From the Speaker Configuration menu, select 7.1 Surround. Windows will then play a test tone from each individual speaker. Listen carefully to every channel: front left, center, front right, side left, side right, rear left, and rear right. If any rear surround channel produces no sound during the test, those speakers are either not physically connected or your audio interface does not support true 7.1 output. For gaming headsets, most advertise 7.1, but use virtual surround processing through two physical drivers rather than true discrete channels. For these headsets, install the manufacturer's software, enable 7.1 mode within that software, and do not layer additional Windows spatial audio processing on top of it. Adding extra processing to virtual surround degrades the result rather than improving it. Mistake 4. AV receiver settings. If your 7.1 system runs through an AV receiver, the receiver needs to be explicitly configured for 7.1. Go into your receiver's speaker configuration menu and confirm the output mode is set to 7.1. Then run the receiver's automatic calibration using the supplied microphone. Place the microphone at your exact listening position, at the height your ears would be when seated. The room should be completely quiet during calibration, because any background noise affects the accuracy of the results. After calibration completes, verify that the receiver detected all 7 speakers plus the subwoofer. Check that the distance measurements for each speaker roughly match the actual physical distances in your room, within about 6 inches. If the rear surrounds appear as absent or not detected, run the calibration again before concluding there is a connection problem. Mistake 5. Virtual 7.1 versus real 7.1. This is the confusion that causes the most frustration, because manufacturers market both versions using identical language. Real 7.1 means 7 independent audio channels delivered to 7 physically separate speakers. Each speaker receives its own unique signal, and the spatial experience comes entirely from the actual physical positions of the speakers in your room. Virtual 7.1 means 2 audio channels processed by software algorithms to create the impression of directionality through a stereo output. Most gaming headsets use this approach. They have 2 drivers and use psychoacoustic processing to make sounds feel like they are coming from positions other than directly left and right of your head. Neither approach is inherently wrong, but they require completely different setup approaches. If your headset uses Virtual 7.1, treat it as a stereo device within Windows, and let the headset's own software handle all the surround processing. If you force a true 7.1 signal to a virtual device, the results are confused and unpleasant, because the virtual processing was not designed for that kind of input. Here is the version you can act on right now. Check your side surrounds first. They belong beside you at 90 to 110 degrees, not on the back wall. If that one change is all you make today, you will notice an immediate and obvious difference in how your system sounds. After that, run the subwoofer crawl and find the best position in your room. Configure Windows or your AV receiver explicitly for 7.1. Turn off any conflicting spatial audio processing. And understand whether your system uses real or virtual 7.1 so you are setting it up correctly for what it actually is. The difference between a wrongly set up 7.1 system and a correctly set up one is not subtle. It is the difference between audio that feels like it comes from vaguely in front of you with some ambience behind, and audio that puts you inside the scene with sounds moving accurately around your entire listening position. That experience is what you paid for. These fixes are how you actually get it. If this helped you, leave a like. It helps this channel reach people trying to get the most out of equipment they already own. Subscribe for next week's receiver settings breakdown and drop your setup in the comments. Tell me what system you are using and whether your rear channels were placed correctly before you watch this.